Wow, super aggressive attack. Greetings Wanderer, this is Atlas here and welcome to the Void. Today I'm going to be reacting and breaking down a song called End of All from Fire Emblem Fates. This is a very special request because it comes, it is one of the coffee store personal requests of this month. And in this case, it's Mexican Zoidberg. And he says, "Yo Atlas, it's your old pal Zoidberg. As the resident Fire Emblem nerd of your secret society, and given the fact that Reluctant Heroes from Attack on Titan is already on the poll nominations, as this track I was planning on requesting, I decided to go with the Fire Emblem track instead, since Twilight of the Gods and ID Purpose are already there. I want to complete the 3DS trilogy. The track I want you to break down is End of All from Fire Emblem Fates. There are technically 3 versions of the track, Sky, Land and Below, but all versions are literally the exact same song but with extremely minor differences. So minor that I'm not even going to bother mentioning them. But for the purposes of this breakdown, I want you to do End of All below. Here's a link. Stay safe, Wanderer. Well, thank you very much, Zoidberg, for your request and of course your continuous incredible support. So I've done probably 2 tracks previously for Fire Emblem, I believe, and I'm gonna leave them in this card right here, but also in the description of this video. And in case you don't know, each month I open 4 spots. It's a limited offer, only 4 spots a month for personal requests in my coffee store for $35, which means that you will get a guarantee breakdown of a song that you're choosing either from an anime or a video game during that month. Okay, so right now they are sold out for this current month, but next month or should I say each first of each month at 1 p.m. I reopen the spots. Okay, so I'm looking forward to come back to Fire Emblem, so onward. Okay, my apologies, I had just a tiny little technical difficulty. So, End of All, the below version, Fire Emblem Fates. Boom. Fantastic vocal harmonies just beginning the track. Wow. Wow, super aggressive attack. This piano arrangement is really good. Because this song actually has lyrics. Because that was really cool. Perfect transition. Wow. Oh yeah. This pattern is so cool. Is it going to repeat the same thing again? This is basically the beginning. Yeah, this is the first section. That part right there could have been a progressive metal kind of section. Has a lot of attack. That piano section is awesome. And this martial arrangement in the snare is really good. This pattern is so good. Yeah. All right. There we have it. End of All Below from Fire Emblem Fates. I think the track cheated a little bit there because I mean, it's basically like a 4-minute song, but it just repeats again the first part. I mean, but of course it makes sense because the music is composed, designed to be looped over a certain section of the video game. So that makes sense. But the second part, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is basically the same as the first part. So the first 4 minutes is basically what the song is really all about. So in the breakdown, I'm going to be talking about the attack that some of the sections or the arrangements of the composition has, to what effect that entails, and also, you know, some of the more minor details like the martial segment that we hear in the snares at some part of the song, and also how the leitmotif or the motif of the song switches in between the strings, or was it in between? Well, I think the strings and the brass were playing it at the same time, and then it switched. The vocals overtake the leitmotif with apparent lyrics in them. So I don't think I have ever heard a song that does that in the channel. So if this track actually has lyrics, that will be very interesting to talk about. So let's break it down. Okay, so let's start this breakdown by talking more in general terms about the track as a whole, and then we can get into more of the specifics of the track. Now, this is like a wild card that I have in regards to the composition of this track, but it sounds to me like some parts of this song were like written, apologies, for like a progressive metal or a progressive rock song, and then were translated to be orchestrated. I'm going to be talking more in detail about why I have that theory. But some parts of this song, there's one very specific part of the song that has this insane attack. That has like this short bursts of energy in terms of the overall energy of the whole track, that are like they seem to come from metal music, other than any other type of music. But that's just like a wild card that I'm throwing out there, you know. But I'm going to be talking more in depth about that specific part when we get into the more specifics. I really liked the use of the piano in the track because it was used in many different ways, as a supporting role, as a device to make transitions, and also as something to, again, in a supporting role to kind of spice the melodic sensibilities or enhance the melodic sensibilities that the track has. I also wonder if this track is like a, not necessarily a boss battle, but somewhere in the game where you are in peril or something like that, because the track has a lot of transitions that are very acutely different in between each other. Some of them are very seamless, or you hear them like they're very slurring in a way, but others are extremely abrupt. For example, when we hear that melodic pattern that I think it's played in the xylophone with a synthesizer, I believe. I'm not really sure about that. It might be just the xylophone layered, below it with some sort of effect or something like that, but it could also be a synthesizer. That transition to that part is really abrupt in some parts of the song, or when that song comes in. But when you hear the piano making the transitions, they are more seamless, and you hear them more. They have a more natural transition into other parts of the song. But the fact that the transitions in the track are abrupt, it doesn't necessarily mean that is a bad thing, because they could be accommodating a certain part of the video game that needs that kind of abrupt transition, or the game, it has some sort of algorithm, has a certain behavior to play a certain part of the track in a very specific moment. You could be listening to the first part of a song, and suddenly, if you get to the part where that needs to be triggered, you will hear like the abrupt transition. That could be one of the reasons. But other than that, it could be that part of the video game where you're playing, it needs to have like that abrupt transition because something really sudden happened or something like that. Another thing that I would like to mention before I get into the specifics of the track, which to me were like the highlights or the things that describe the most what is going on while this track is happening in the video game, is that the vocals. Absolutely beautiful intro with the harmonies in the vocals, but unfortunately I couldn't find the lyrics to the track, and I don't know if this track has lyrics, but if I was not mistaken, I could listen to some actual words, like words in English being sang when the vocals overtake the leitmotif in the song. But I unfortunately I couldn't find them. I don't know if they were thrown like ad-libs or something like that. So in essence, the track doesn't have any lyrics. But regardless of that, I think that listening to the strings, the strings and the brass section, I think, was also involved, playing the leitmotif or the motif of the song, and then the vocals overtaking it and actually singing words with the leitmotif was absolutely great. Like I really liked that part of the song. Now let's talk about the specifics of the song, which are, I think, were the most describing in terms of the nature of the song and what was trying to evoke, and also probably my favorite parts of the song also. So the first one is the part that I was talking about that has like this progressive metal kind of thing, okay? That has a lot of attack, and I'm going to play a clip of it right here so you can understand what I'm talking about. So as you can hear, that particular part has silences, and when you hear notes playing, they are exploding. Like it's a big burst of energy in terms of the notes. Okay, so why I say that part has a lot of attack is not only because of the perceived volume that you hear the notes playing or whatever. It is because if you were to see an orchestra playing that part, everybody involved in that section will be going insane on their instrument, because it has a lot of attack, meaning that the people playing their instruments are going at it. I think that in the string section it will be like a very aggressive spiccato, because I know that I think pizzicatos are played with the finger. So that technique will be like playing the strings by plucking them, okay, while you're fretting the notes. but that has like a very brief short burst of energy, let's say, and it's a very short length note. And also it's not really that aggressive because of the nature of the attack of your finger. You know, it's kind of fleshy, although you could very much do a super insane attack with the finger, you know, like plucking it real hard. But I don't think the pizzicato is often used in that matter. It is more often used in more of a tamed matter, let's say. I don't think a staccato will be the other technique that will be used, because that often has, I mean, the notes are not connecting. It's just like a brief burst of energy, a little longer than the pizzicato. But what spiccato allows you to do is connect to a certain degree notes while you're doing it. Okay, so spiccato and staccato are done with the bow, I believe. But the difference in spiccato is that, you know, when you're playing, you can clearly hear. Apologies. You can clearly hear the kind of the segmentation or a divide in between the notes, right? And although that doesn't seem to be present in that particular part of the song, where which I showed you a clip, is because it's played insanely fast. You know, it's like the note doesn't have the time to kind of tone down, so it's like a burst of notes played very fast with that technique. Now, why I do the parallelism with metal? Well, metal and rock. And the reason is because that happens often in rock and metal music. All the instruments, you know, come together, intertwine, kind of in an unison sort of way of doing a certain section of the song where every instrument and everything is playing the same thing. So you will hear like the percussion or the drums in the double bass doing the same thing. Like, it sounds like a machine gun, right? And the guitars and so on and so forth. And it's basically the exact same thing that the orchestra is playing in this particular section of the song. So maybe it doesn't have anything to do with metal at all. Because certainly these kind of practices are not necessarily because metal invented them or anything like that. But if I would have to make like a comparison to a more pop culture kind of thing, I would say that's a very metal thing to do. And finally, I would like to talk about the snare, the pattern in the snare, which we hear fairly in the most part of the song, which to me is the quintessential thing that adds the most conflict in the song, because the song, like I said before, has like many different chapters, let's say, that evoke different things, you know. But what seems to be the unifying thread among them all is the snare and the pattern in the snare, because the pattern is the snare, like I said before, it has a martial kind of pattern, and it's done very laid back. You know, it's the intensity of the notes lets the snare be laid in the back, so it doesn't become like the center point of the thing, but it is actually it is actually the element of the song that is transmitting or communicating the most about the conflict that is portrayed not only in the track, but also the conflict that you might be, you know, experiencing in the video game. So that tiny minute thing, you know, that probably some people wouldn't even think about, is to me actually what actually unifies that conflict along the track. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with my wild card in regards to the metal thing, and say that also I love the harmonies in the vocals. That section with a lot of attack was incredible. The piano arrangements to make the transitions were beautiful, and I love the piano as an instrument also, so that's great. And finally, you know, the Marshall's arrangement in the snare is what ultimately, to me at least, made like the case for the song, like the thing that transmitted the most about the conflict that is trying to evoke the song. It was there to me, which is basically, if you think about it, like the drums and the percussion in a composition are basically most of the time the foundation of your whole thing, you know. Even though it could be a minor detail here and there, sometimes it lays the foundation of the house you're trying to build. So I think I'm gonna give this track a golden badge. Yeah, it was a really cool song. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and share it with your friend. Also, please don't forget to visit my Patreon in case you want to sway the vote towards what I'm going to be breaking down next. Also, visit my Ko-fi profile in case you want to make a one-time contribution to the channel, or my Ko-fi store in case you want to purchase one of these personal requests. Remember, this month is sold out, but next month, first of next month at 1 p.m. EST, I'm gonna be opening the new spots, and my Teespring shop in case you want merch and all that jazz. And of course, ex nihilo nihil fit.